The most anticipated event of the year is here again. Oh yes, the annual Taxpayers Award ceremony is back. The GRA will hold the 8th edition of Taxpayers Appreciation and Award Ceremony on Saturday, May 23rd, 2026 at the Cook Ocean Hotel Resort and Spa, commencing at 7 p.m. This award ceremony is dedicated to our esteemed and valued taxpayers who consistently comply with timely payment of taxes and duties, make timely filing of their tax returns, present original and authentic custom documents, and comply with other provisions of the revenue laws. This spectacular event will be graced by the President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Mr. Adama Barrow, Cabinet Ministers, senior government officials, members of the business community and development partners. A memorable night of excellence dedicated to our valued taxpayers. Remember, GRA is your GRA. GRA is our GRA, collecting revenue for national development.
Hello and welcome to Star TV Newsroom, broadcasting from our studios in Carnifin along the Battle Harden Highway. I am Emily Fadera. Many thanks indeed for joining us. The headlines tonight: President Barrow wraps up nationwide tour with final roads projects in Nyamina. High CFI exchange rate and fee. His Excellency President Adama Barrow has concluded his nationwide tour in the Central River region, marking the final by alleging an additional 59 kilometers of rural roads. The latest projects in Nyamina bring the total number of foundation stones laid during his tour to 15. The President kicked off the infrastructure drive by meeting with local residents to discuss future development plans.
Tuesday's activities in Bansang marked the final phase of the President's road infrastructure engagements in the region. The President first laid the foundation stone for the 26-kilometer Bansang-Nibras road before proceeding to several other strategic road projects across Nyamina. The roads include Yoroberikunda, Galemanda, Sololo Mandinka among others, covering a combined distance of 58.75 kilometers. The project forms part of the government's wider 1,500-kilometer roads infrastructure programs aimed at improving connectivity, boosting economic activities, and improving access to essential services in rural Gambia. Speaking on behalf of the youths of Choya, Youth Representative Mamadou Jallo said the Barrow administration has brought relief and development to their communities. He noted that for them, there is no need for campaigning because the president would win a large margin due to the visible development projects. He further appealed to the president to help build a hospital and youth center after the completion of the road projects. His Excellency President Adama Barrow disclosed that the First Lady is currently supporting the construction of an accident and emergency ward at Bansang Hospital, alongside 3 other health centers across the country worth $10 million. The President further encouraged Gambians to recognize and appreciate development, saying that if anyone seeks their votes, they should first ask what development they have brought for the country. President Barrow also stated that his business experience and management skills have helped make many of the country's infrastructure developments possible. The President's nationwide infrastructure drive continues to receive praise from communities across the country, particularly in rural areas where access to roads has remained a major challenge for decades. For Star TV News, I am Hadi Jaju.
With just days to go before Eid al-Adha, livestock markets across the country are buzzing with activity, but for many Gambians, shopping for a sacrificial ram is proving to be a highly stressful experience. Our reporter Ajivatu Jallo visited the popular abattoir Abuko to check out the market conditions. She reports that while sellers blame the soaring value of the sefa and high feeding cost for the steep prices, frustrated buyers say this year's rams are simply out of reach. Meanwhile, police have also stepped in security to maintain order during the peak festive rush. Here is more of the story.
The Abuko abattoir is filled with the sounds of livestock, but beneath the surface lies deep frustration from both vendors and customers. This year, buying a ram is proving to be a heavy financial burden. Livestock traders who imported their animals from neighboring Senegal and Mauritania complain that the strong CFA franc has eaten deep into their profit margins. One such trader is Talajeng, who explains that a lack of supply from Mali and skyrocketing feeding costs have left them with no choice but to hike prices.
This year's rams are more expensive because the CFA is very strong, unlike in the past when Mali used to supply plenty of rams to Senegal. Things didn't go like that this year. It is not easy, and that is why it is very difficult for us. On top of that, animal feed is costing 1,200 per bag. Imagine buying 3 bags just to feed them. It is indeed very difficult for us.
For sellers like Musa Magan, the solution lies in national self-sufficiency. He expressed disappointment over the lack of government patronage and called for long-term investments in local livestock projects to reduce dependence on foreign imports.
We have been coming here to Abuko, but we don't see anyone from the government here to help or patronize us. It should be their duty to come and buy from us because we brought these rams from very distant places. We haven't seen any ministry come to buy from us. Even the president should buy from us. Former President Jawara used to buy from us, but those things no longer happen. They are not helping us raise rams locally. If they want the prices to be reasonable, they should support the local sellers by launching livestock project because the Gambia does not have enough rams.
Buyers are feeling the pinch just as badly. Abdulkadir Jallo, who came to purchase a ram for his family, described the price difference between this year and last year as day and night. Yet, he admits the blame cannot be placed solely on the traders. With millions of dollars exchanging hands and massive crowds flocking to the abattoir.
Last year's price and this year's price are like day and night. If I am to be honest with you, you cannot blame the sellers because that is how the world is evolving. The CFA is very high, and if you look at the rams that are here, they are from Senegal or Mauritania. Those from Mali are not here. I believe our lack of local rams is contributing to high prices because we have to buy from other countries and pay for their shipping into the country.
The risk of criminal activity is high. To counter this, the Kanifi Municipality Police Command has deployed extra personnel to safeguard both buyers and sellers. Assistant Commissioner of Police Ansumana F. Sanyang outlines their security strategy.
We've ensured that there is police presence throughout 24/7 police presence. If you go around, you find police officers at different locations and also moving around. So we ensure there is police presence to ensure there is security, but also safety within the abattoir area, because it's inviting a lot of businesses and a lot of people coming in to buy. We are approaching the Tobaski period, and we expect a lot of people to come and buy rams for the Tobaski festivities. So because we'll be having a lot of people, we'll expect that there is also the need for police presence to assure people that there is security and there is safety within the abattoir. But equally, those that are coming to sell theirs would also have the assurance that their properties are very much safe because of police presence. This is why we're here.
As the countdown to Eid continues, the hustle at Abuko Abattoir will only intensify. while the police ensure that the market remains secure from the thieves. The financial security for ordinary Gambians remain under the threat by forces beyond their control. Until the country can invest in rearing its own livestock, the annual scramble for affordable sacrificial animals will remain an uphill battle for many. For Star TV News, this is Ajifatu Jallo.
A family in Latiria is pleading for help after a devastating house fire left them with absolutely nothing. The blaze, sparked by a faulty electrical outlet, quickly consumed the home, while quick-thinking neighbors saved lives. The family's possessions were completely destroyed. Ajifatu Jallo has the rest of the story.
Only bare, black walls are left for this family home in Latiria. What started as a normal day turned into a nightmare when a spark from a kid's bedroom wall socket caught onto a mattress. Neighbors acted quickly to rescue the family, but everything they owned was wiped out in minutes. Maria Tukujabi was sitting in the living room when she smelled smoke. She remembers the terrifying moment she realized the kids' room was on fire and how she tried to put it out.
I was sitting in the living room when I saw smoke. I jumped up, wondering what was happening. I called out for the kids, but they had already run outside. I kept calling for one of the boys to see if he was still inside. When I left the living room and peeped into the kids' room, I saw the mattress on fire. I called one of the girls and told her there was a fire. She panicked, ran to me, helped me, and told me to get out. By then, thick smoke was all over the house, and she pulled me away. I fetched water from the tap to try and put out the fire, but the moment I threw it, the flames just grew bigger. It quickly burnt all the kids' clothes and suitcases, and not long after, the neighbors arrived.
The house quickly filled with thick, heavy smoke, trapping an elderly woman inside. Seeing the danger, neighbor Modu Krubali climbed over the compound fence to pull her to safety before helping others fight the flames.
So ñu try on pour first thing suñ calculation moo nekkoon maire bi ak xale yu ñu xam ne ñu
When we arrived, the smoke was too much. Our first thought was how to save the old woman and the kids who were at home. The situation was so intense that I had to climb over the fence to get the old woman. Luckily, I managed to reach her and get her out safely. And with the help of the neighbors, we were able to put out the fire.
Imam Sambaba visited the scene and confirmed that a broken wall socket started the fire. He says the community's quick actions saved lives.
Anyway, min lamdinoma ɓe wi jangol yalti ko to suudu woturu ka sukaɓe ɓe walata to.
We asked what happened, and they said the fire was caused by a wall socket in the kids' room. It seemed the socket had a fault, and since the mattress was right next to it, the fire started there and spread to the other rooms. The old woman was lying inside, and we actually thought she was dead. But Modi Kurbali got there just in time and saved her.
The homeowner, Kodu Ture, was at work when the fire broke out. By the time she rushed home, the neighbors had put out the fire, and the fire department had arrived, but it was already too late to save their belongings.
dëkkandoor yi ñu ngi fees step si kër bi after gars yi ñu ngi try pour fay ko man by the time I egsi fekk fire service tam egsi na waaye fekk time
I was at work, so when I got home, I found my neighbors in the compound trying to put out the fire. By the time the fire service arrived, almost everything was already gone, and my neighbors had managed to stop the fire. They really did their best. I am calling on the government, NGOs and charities to help us in any way they can, because dealing with a devastating fire outbreak like this is just too heavy for a woman to handle alone.
This loss is a massive blow to the family. Kodu Ture, a widow who remarried, single-handedly pays for 75% of everything her family needs. With their foods, clothes and home completely gone, they have nothing left. They are begging the government, charities and the public to please help them restart their lives. For Star TV News, this is Ajifatu Jallo.
In a major security intercept on Tuesday night, May 19, 2026, the Regional Task Force in Barra apprehended a 24-year-old Senegalese national in Amdalai North Bank region for the unlawful possession of military ammunition. The suspect, identified as Amadou Bamba Cisse, was arrested at the local brothel with 14 rounds of live ammunition in his possession. According to preliminary police investigations, Cisse claimed to be an active member of the Senegalese army stationed at the Nemanding military base, located roughly 10 kilometers from the Gambian border. He allegedly told investigation that he obtained ammunition following a routine change of guard at his base. Cisse remains in police custody as authorities investigate his motives and cross-border security implications. In a separate development, police have successfully tracked down a grey Volkswagen Touareg registration number BJL 3982S that was reportedly stolen from the airport mosque on Sunday, May 17, 2026. The vehicle was discovered in Ibo Town at the residence of a 16-year-old youth who is employed by the vehicle's owner. Police reports indicate that the teenage suspect accompanied the victim's family to the airport. Once the family went inside the terminal, the suspect allegedly used a spare key to drive the vehicle away without permission. While the vehicle has been recovered and returned to its rightful owner, Mr. Sidi Cisse, the 16-year-old suspect, managed to evade initial capture and remains at large. The Gambia Police Force has assured the public that a manhunt is actively underway to apprehend the fleeing teenager. Well, from that report, we'll now take a short commercial break. From there, the news will continue with News Beyond Our Borders. Welcome back after a short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, this is Star TV News. We now take a look at the news beyond our borders. In 2014, an Ebola outbreak in West Africa killed more than 11,000 people and infected over 28,000 across Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. It was the deadliest Ebola outbreak ever recorded and led to border closures, quarantines, and major international health responses across the region. Al Jazeera's Nicholas Haig reports.
The virus of fear is how Professor Daudaka describes Ebola. During the 2014 outbreak, he treated several Ebola patients. Patient 0 was a child infected near a hollow tree in southern Guinea where bats nested. That's when scientists believe the virus jumped from the bats to humans and spread to 28,000 people across West Africa. More than 11,000 people died of the virus in what was the deadliest Ebola outbreak in history. But Senegal recorded only one case treated by Dr. Ka. He says in any Ebola outbreak, panic is the virus's greatest ally.
When people panic, they expose themselves to even more risk. When there's panic in health centres, that leads to bad decisions and dangerous behaviour.
It took Guinea 3 months to notify the World Health Organization of the outbreak and several more months before the WHO declared it an international health emergency. Touslow says this MSF doctor who was on the ground fighting Ebola, for him, the lesson is clear. With Ebola, early detection is key.
Par conséquent, il faut la confiance.
You need trust and cooperation from local communities. They have to be involved. They have to understand the virus. That is the only way to stop it early. And contact tracing has to be rigorous, because if you don't find those contacts quickly, the outbreak spreads in every direction and becomes much harder to control.
But detection was not enough. Borders were shut, armed security patrolled the streets enforcing quarantine measures. As the death toll increased, so did mistrust. Health centers were placed not to heal, but to die.
Pendant la même période que va durer l'Ebola en Ituri,
what worries me deeply is that during the same period as this Ebola outbreak in Ituri, far more children will die from malnutrition, malaria and measles than from Ebola itself.
It took 2.5 years before people celebrated the end of the epidemic, unaware that the virus was still lurking and a new outbreak was to come. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera, Dakar.
A court in Zimbabwe has reserved its judgment in a controversial case about changes to the constitution. If the change go ahead, it could extend President Emmerson Mnangagwa's term in office. Critics call it a power grab, but the president's supporters say the change is needed. Al Jazeera's Harumutaza reports from the court in Harare.
Is a constitutional reform good for Zimbabwe, or is it just a power grab by the governing ZANU-PF party? It's a subject that's divided Zimbabweans here and is playing out at the Constitutional Court. Some war veterans, not all of them, but some of them, are challenging plans by the governing ZANU-PF party to keep the president in office 2 more years. President Emmerson Mnangagwa's second and final term is due to end in 2028. The proposed constitutional changes would allow Parliament, not voters, to elect the president and extend the term of office from 5 to 7 years.
We are not happy about that. How can we assent to that unless if we are made? We did not fight for that. That's a nullity, and we are not going to accept that at all.
War veterans fought an armed struggle against British colonial rule in the 1970s. They also led violent farm invasions more than 20 years ago, chasing mostly white farmers off the land. The vets helped to keep former President Robert Mugabe in office until 2017, when Mnangagwa took power after a military intervention. There are reports of divisions in ZANU-PF, but the official party line is that it favors changing parts of the constitution.
We've noted that within a 5-year cycle, we will not be able to have achieved most of the targets that we need. A 7-year cycle gives us more stability and more time to ensure that all our economic programs are fully met. So we are extending the presidential election cycle, the parliamentary election cycle, and the local government cycle.
Recent public hearings pitted ZANU-PF and opposition supporters against each other. Some in the opposition don't want Parliament to debate the bill until all legal options have been exhausted.
In a proper constitutional democracy, they must not convene. They must wait. What are they rushing for? I mean, 2030 is far away from today, and we have a court that is weighing these arguments. And all the arguments which were before the court were about the validity of the bill, whether the bill must proceed.
The 2013 Constitution restricts the president to a maximum of 2 terms and states any move to extend term limits would need to be endorsed by voters in a referendum. It also states that a sitting president cannot benefit from any extension unless voters give their approval in a second referendum. Harumutasa, Al Jazeera, Harare.
Global condemnation is growing after Israel's far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir posted a video of himself taunting abducted Gaza aid flotilla activists as they were being mistreated by Israel's prison guards. Al Jazeera's Zain Brazravi reports.
The governments of several countries, including Italy, France, the Netherlands, Australia, and Canada, have summoned Israeli ambassadors to condemn Israel's mistreatment of activists taken into custody from a Gaza aid flotilla. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir shared this video showing himself taunting them. It shows him shouting at the activists who are kneeling with their hands tied as officers stand nearby. The footage has sparked sharp criticism in the European Parliament of the lack of a proportionate response from EU leaders.
Are you going to lift a finger at any point to protect them? They are European citizens. What would you do if it were Iran? If it were Russia who stood in the middle of the Mediterranean to kidnap European citizens? But since it's Israel, you smile and look the other way.
Shame on you.
The activists were trying to break Israel's blockade of Gaza, which has remained in place despite the ceasefire agreed in October. They were detained when Israeli forces intercepted and stormed their vessels in international waters on Monday. With Israel's international image at all-time lows for its genocide in Gaza, even Israeli leaders said Ben-Gvir had gone too far. Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar posted on social media accusing Ben-Gvir of knowingly causing harm to Israel with what he called a disgraceful display. There was even a rare rebuke from the Prime Minister. While Benjamin Netanyahu maintained Israel was right to intercept the flotilla, he said Ben-Gvir's treatment of the activists was not in line with Israeli values. Zain Brazravi, Al Jazeera.